Now here's a peculiar tomahawk. You may have seen it in a previous video. If you did, you already know that it had a slight case of the fail. I'll talk about that later. So this is a pipe Spontoon tomahawk. It's made by Windlass Steelcrafts in India. And I got this for $63 US at Cult of Athena, which is not a bad price, even considering the inferior handle. Just for the head, that still wouldn't be too bad, really, considering that it's pretty decently made otherwise. So this type of tomahawk was used in the 18th and 19th century by Native Americans, obviously. The blades on these were made of a piece of wrought iron, which was bent to form the eye and then welded. I don't see any signs of welding on this one, so it may have simply been drilled, but I can't say for sure. And then they were cut into on each side, and these pieces were bent. This one is made of steel. There is no information on which particular type of steel or the hardness. It just says high carbon steel. The shape seems quite similar to the antique originals that I found pictures of. I don't know if they reproduced any particular piece, but the overall style definitely seems quite close to the originals. And this is an interesting dual symbolism. On the one hand, you have a weapon of war, but you also have the aspect of the peace pipe. And by the way, what's sometimes called peace pipes are really just ceremonial pipes that were used mainly for religious ceremonies, not just for sealing a peace agreement. And this pipe is actually functional. It's got a hollow bowl with a hole drilled through, and the hole also goes all the way through the handle, which is exactly one of the problems. Now, it may be an issue with the wood itself. I'm terrible at identifying wood. I can't tell either what kind it is or what quality it is. But the main issue here is, look at how close the hole is to the edge. That's not good. It is nowhere near centered, and that of course means there's a really thin layer of wood only on that one side. Now it is somewhat reinforced by this thin decorative piece of steel here, but it may even do more harm than good in this case. So I think that's the main reason why it broke. Also, the hole looks excessively large to me. I don't think you need a hole anywhere near that size for the pipe to be functional. So that, I think, is the main reason why it broke. The upside, it's a tomahawk, so it's not difficult at all to replace it. You just need to knock that out, get another haft, and drive it in. This is really solidly assembled, by the way. Some tomahawks have a tendency to come loose and then slide down. I mean, you want them to be able to slide down to be able to remove them, but a lot of them, the ones that I've handled, just come loose on their own way too easily. This is really tightly fitted, which is nice, but again, it doesn't help you if you have to replace the handle anyway. And it's really a shame because it looks quite nice. The metal accents here are really neat, and it also got the burned pattern here. It all looks really quite attractive, but it's not functional. It doesn't hold up. The blade shape is, well, brutal. If you imagine the kind of force generated by a forward-weighted weapon like an axe, and all of that being concentrated on that small point, this is pretty devastating. This penetrates very easily. It might get stuck easily as well, but I mean, it's crazy. You could puncture armor with this, I'm pretty sure. I haven't gotten around to doing any actual armor tests with it for obvious reasons, but as soon as I have a replacement handle, I may do something, especially mail. I'm really curious what this does against mail. I'm pretty sure it'll penetrate without too much effort. The shape here could also be potentially useful for trapping blades. I don't think that was the idea behind it, but it might be a bit of a side effect. It's certainly not a tool hatchet. It's designed as a weapon. I haven't tried splitting wood with it, and I'm pretty sure you would not have a good time trying it. It's just not very suitable for that. The edge on this one, this is a Cult of Athena sharpening surface because they are completely dull. Otherwise, it's not the nicest grind. It's a little uneven, but the overall shape is pretty decent and it's sharp enough for this type of weapon. Can't really complain too much. Like other tomahawks, this would also be very useful for fighting at grappling range, maybe even more so. Could be used for punching, hooking, raking. So really quite an effective, vicious weapon. And overall, I like how the head is shaped. It's got some decorations here, some pretty neat lines, decorative grooves. Really a handsome collector's piece, and I was hoping that I would be able to wholeheartedly recommend it. As it is, I can only recommend it with a caveat, namely that if you want to use it for cutting tests or I guess penetration tests, that sounds wrong. Anyway, if you want to use it in any kind of way, you would really have to replace the handle. Otherwise, this is pretty much guaranteed to fail on you. Of course, it depends on how you look at it. Rehafting tomahawks and axes in general is a very common thing to do. It is to be expected, but this was literally the third strike I took with it. So regardless, that's not acceptable. But still, otherwise it is nicely made and certainly a pretty piece. I'll leave the link down below and specs and all of that as usual. And thanks for watching.